time to grow with the SEO Queen. Receive the perfect leads like never before. No traffic is gonna explode. It's time to grow.
Welcome to the SEO Queen Tech Show, a podcast to help you get more credibility, visibility, and profitability through inspiration, technology, and marketing insight. This podcast is for professionals and entrepreneurs who are looking to get more customers, clients, and patients. We're broadcast worldwide on Bashani Radio, iHeartRadio, and iTunes. Bashani Radio, always talking about everything from New York City. You can listen to the SEO Queen Tech Show on any mobile phone or tablet device. Also, as a thank you gift for listening to the SEO Queen Tech Show, you can go to seoqueen.com and book a complimentary strategy session. Just go to seoqueen.com and book a Reach More Clients Power session. So today's episode is a special episode because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite topics, and that is Josephine Baker. So, the woman who is going to be joining me today is the founder and president of the African American Women in Cinema Organizations, AAWIC. And Terra Renee has a very strong background in filmmaking, and she is a very ardent supporter of the work of women. She studied filmmaking and film directing at the School of Visual Arts, and she has produced several independent films, including Island Alicia, a feature that was the official selection of the Cannes Film Festival in the Certain Regard category. That's an amazing accomplishment to get a film acknowledged at a global platform such as the Cannes Film Festival. And she's also interned at Universal Pictures and served as a judge for some of Hollywood's most prestigious awards, such as the Emmys, the Student Academy Award Oscars, New York Film Festival, and NATPE. She has successfully produced the Women of Excellence Salute Awards, hosted by Morgan Stanley, and created a platform for women of color filmmakers during the Sundance Film Festival. So she has her finger on the pulse of the film industry, which makes her just a great expert to talk to about Josephine Baker. And she was also featured in Essence Magazine. Shout out to Essence Magazine. I want y'all to do a feature on the SEO Queen. Holla at your girl. So Miss Renee, she's been featured in Essence Magazine, and she represented the Walmart Voices of Color film series. You can also learn more about this phenomenal woman at terrarenee.net. And without further ado, welcome.
Thank you so much, Z, for having me. You are phenomenal and amazing yourself. So it is an honor to be here. And thank you so much for allowing me to come today and be a guest on your fabulous show.
Oh, thank you so much. So what made you get into filmmaking?
Oh, boy. Woo! How much time we have?
As much time as you like. My schedule is clear. Come on,
well,
now.
I'll give you the shortened, the abbreviated version. About a few days before I graduated out of college, I got hit with what they call the entertainment bug, but I didn't know specifically what it was that I needed to do or wanted to do. So I just began an exploratory tour, if you will, dibble dabbled into, did a little bit of modeling and did some extra work, some acting. So I was an extra on Law and Order and other projects. And one day I got a phone call from a casting director. A major motion picture had hired her, and they were looking for a tall African-American woman who was not a size 0 for under 5 role. And so when she told me about it, I said, wonderful. She gave me the information of the audition site. So I got down there. I'm thinking in my mind, oh, I got the role, I got the role. And when I opened up the door and saw about 1,000 women that fit the bill, I was shocked. I mean, it was just like I had like all these emotions running through, disbelief, shock, like what's going on, all these things. And yet in the midst of that, the advocacy just rose up in me. And I said, oh, I got to create jobs for women of color. Very young, naive, wet behind the ear, as they would say. I didn't understand that it was a lot of systemic racism and everywhere, but certainly it was visible that day to me in
So
film.
I have a question for you, because I can
Sure.
definitely relate to being wet behind the ears and naive and seeing like why isn't the fabulous Black woman getting her shot? She's amazing. So like so the racism piece, like how did you, what made you understand? Because this is the big part of Josephine Baker's story. Like, when were you first aware of like racism? And, oh my God, like it's wrong.
Well, my first encounter with racism was when I was in the second grade, and my parents put me in a private school, which they were paying hefty tuition fees for. And so my mother, coming from the South and growing up in the towards the tail end of the Jim Crow era, she had a real understanding of the microaggressions of what, unfortunately, the folks that she counteract with, the white people in the Southern area, some of their tactics and what they would do. So understanding that, she equipped me and armed me with money if I needed to make a call. And so even though I'm younger, it was during the time of payphones, where we had to pay for a call. So she made sure I was armed with funding to make a phone call if I need to, and also instructions. She said at any point in time, if you felt um, really something not right, I am giving you permission to walk out of your class and make this call. And I was, I said, okay, mom. So this particular time, she stayed up with me pretty much practically almost all night to do my homework. And in the morning when we walk in, we put our homework in. The teacher had this basket on her desk. And one of the perks of doing your homework was that you get to have recess, go outside and play for an hour. So I put the homework when I came in her basket. And so now it's time for recess. And then she calls out the names of the folks who get to go. Well, my name wasn't called. So I said, raised my hand, said, why am I not going to recess? And she said, because you didn't turn in your homework. And I said, and I did. And so she says, no, you didn't. Now, I'm not even paying attention to the fact that this grown woman is arguing with a second grader, you know. So I walked out of the class as per my mother's instructions and called her, and I'm sure I was emotional. And she got down to that school and what's that term? Lickety split.
Lickety split.
And before I knew it, she was in the teacher's face. She was in the teacher's face. And I saw my teacher, her face start turning red. I said, uh-oh. And then all of a sudden, a miracle happened, Z.
Your
The
homework
teacher...
appeared.
Yes. My homework appeared. And so after that, did not have too many issues with her, but that allowed me to see, it opened my eyes to understand what a form of racism existed. And
Mhm.
so that's what came up in the form of advocacy when I opened that door, saw
Mhm.
about 1,000 women that looked like me. I said, wow. Now, later I found out one of my ancestors in the 1800s was a civil rights activist.
Oh, wow.
So that was already in my DNA, waiting for an opportunity to come out of doormatville and
Mhm.
be active.
Right.
And so hence started African American Woman in Cinema. Was only supposed to be a one-time event, but when I saw the response of many women in film who had showed up, I said, wow, this is really needed.
Right.
And so 24 years later, Z,
Mhm.
uh, we're still around, uh, kicking and moving forward.
Right.
Pre-pandemic, we did a lot of live events.
Okay.
We built an audience. We did film screenings and educational programs across the country and out of the country. We were in Africa. We were in England,
Oh,
just to
what
name a few.
countries? What
In
countries in
Africa,
Africa? Mm-hmm.
we were in Gabon. We were in uh, Guinea Conakry. Just recently came back from Senegal and
Oh,
Gambia.
wow.
So we
Oh, wow.
hosted our film screening in Senegal in September of this year,
Oh,
which
okay.
went very, very well.
What film did you screen?
Ooh, we screened several shorts made by some of our members of African American Women in Cinema. So one dealt with about 5 operators who were on the front line during 9/11
Okay.
here in
Okay.
New York, and they never got their just due. All women of color. Some
Wow.
of them spoke on the phone before people perished. And the emotional, psychological trauma behind that, the film was amazing. We also
I haven't
screened,
seen any films about Black people in 9/11.
isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yes. So we got to make sure you see this one. The other film that we screened was a real hot topic. It dealt with colorism, light
Mm,
skin, dark skin,
the brown people.
and unbeknownst to me,
Mhm.
that's a major issue in Africa. I didn't realize that.
No, it's a major issue globally. Any
Mm-hmm.
community where there's more dark skinned
Mm-hmm.
anybody, or like
Mm-hmm.
whether it's India, Russia,
Mm.
Malaysia, India,
Mm-hmm.
it's an issue everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I was surprised to learn that it was in Africa, because a lot of the photos that I saw growing, well, whatever ones that I was exposed to,
Hmm.
it always featured what down they call, what's the term, deeply melanated
Hmm.
hue,
Right.
But anyway, so that ended up being a very hot topic when we showed that film, and then we showed the film on young millennials who went to law school to become a lawyer. And they talk about the present day racism that they had to face
Mm.
uh, becoming a lawyer. And so some of the things that their white um, classmates would say to them,
Hmm.
one, for example, she said, I showed up in class and I took my seat, and this white girl came and sat next to me and told me that I took her friend's seat. Now, initially, she thought that her friend was in the class trying to get a seat next to her, but that's not what she was referencing. She was saying because of affirmative action that this young lady took her friend's seat. And I said, wow, that's amazing.
That's real bold.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes, yes. So that's what they were sharing, what they were dealing with, becoming a lawyer,
Right.
you
Wow.
know. Mm-hmm.
Well, on that note, I want to know, when did you first become aware of Josephine Baker? You
Ooh,
remember the
that's a
moment?
great, yes, yes, yes. So when I was younger, my mother always, she made sure that we knew a lot more of our Black history than what we were taught in school.
Mm-hmm.
She subscribed to the iconic Ebony and Jet magazine,
Okay.
so we can read about, what folks who look like us, what they were doing in the community that was inspirational
Mm-hmm.
and empowering. And so, and she also made sure that we saw films like the autobiography of Jane Pittman
Right.
and Roots. So I think not too long after I saw uh, those films, I saw just like a photo of Josephine Baker with a caption at the bottom. It said, superstar in 1920, I think it said 1921, something of that effect. And my jaw dropped
Mm-hmm.
because number one, I'm just going to be very real and open with you. Number one, here's this deeply melanated hue woman on looking fabulous,
Right.
free, at the top of her game, and looked successful in the 20s. And I'm watching stuff like, you know, Jane Pittman. That was, I forgot what year that was.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was looking at some footage about I forgot to make mention of that, some footage about, Dr. King. Well, when the children were marching and the dogs were sick on them in the 60s. And I'm saying, so it was this, I had a conflict, mind-blowing experience looking at this photo of this powerful, successful Black woman from the USA in the 20s. Blew my mind, see, blew my mind. So I had to, so I was, it drove my curiosity, of course, to want to learn more about her. And she became a serious inspiration in my life.
Mm-hmm.
Very serious. Because her being there, that photo represent that irregardless of what life is bringing to you,
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking on with all the negative side,
Right.
you know, you can power through it. I'm the living example. That's what it screamed that to me when I saw her photo.
Wow, that's incredible. So, I mean, for me, as I've been working on this project to garner signatures to honor her with an honorary Oscar, I've been
Yeah.
really moved and inspired myself. So, have you had a chance to put any projects together about Josephine Baker, and what was the most striking thing that you found?
Yes, yes. The answer is yes, yes, yes. First thing, one of the things we did, we actually honored Miss Baker at one of our film festivals, and her son Jean-Claude Baker came and accepted the award, which was amazing. But I recently executive produced a film about her, and I was sitting down talking with the director to talk about what angle that we could highlight her incredible career. And also, we wanted to utilize the film as a tool to inspire um, young Black women, to let them know, that they can be whatever they want to be. And so, in conversation, um, what came out, what stood out to me, I said, wait a minute, Miss Baker, she was like uh, super talented. She danced, she sang, she acted. She was an incredible fashionista.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was like that boom moment. Like that's what we should highlight, all these facets of her. And so that's we proceeded with that, and we start pulling industry professionals in these areas to really elaborate and connect the dots, as to what they saw of Miss Baker and what they're doing now, and how she played the role in that.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so that's what you will see in the film. So uh the fashionista side, we had a costume director who talked about that. I mean, she did everything from like the Whitney Houston videos to Judas and the Black Messiah wardrobe. And so for her to talk about, just seeing the what Miss Baker wore,
Right.
perspective, that was interesting. And then of course her dancing. So we had people from uh, the professional dance world and talk about how she inspired them. And so that's what I did not realize on the onset until I did the deep dive, and it became so relevant. I said, wow, all right, this is as I heard someone say, this is good stuff.
Right, right, right. So I think for me, as a musician and as a professional myself, I think Josephine Baker is just so inspirational about being vocal
Mm-hmm.
about what you want to see change in the world, and then also being the force for change, because she
Yes.
she really lived what she believed. She had
Mm-hmm.
her rainbow tribe,
Yes.
and she had such a tremendous impact. So tell me a little bit more about dear Josephine.
Ah. Woo. Well, we go a little deeper in those particular areas that Miss Baker was astute at, and we highlight some of, there's a lot of film out there about Miss Baker, but I'm not sure if some of the things that we were able to pull.